Hello and welcome. I'm Louise Watt, and here's what happened this week. Taiwan's political opposition is struggling to unite ahead of next year's elections. 3 opposition figures all want to be president, and as John Van Trieste reports, a possible alliance between 2 of them shows signs of falling apart.
With just under 3 months until Taiwan's presidential election, the 3-way rift in the opposition isn't healing. Candidates Hou You-yi and Ko Wen-je have both shown up here at the Global Views Leaders Forum in Taipei. But despite talk of an alliance between them, they went on stage separately. And instead of talking to one another, they talked about one another.
想跟他说一句话，希望每一个人都是利中华民国，也要利个人。
Take it easy.
For a joint ticket to work, one will have to drop out of the race and run as vice president. Neither can agree how to pick who that should be. And it's not just these 2 vying for power. The wild card in this campaign is electronics tycoon Terry Guo. If he gets enough signatures to get on the ballot, he'll be yet another opposition candidate. And a fresh poll from news site New Talk shows that with him in the mix, the opposition would be too split to win, handing the ruling DPP another term. Hou You-yi and Ko Wen-je haven't completely given up on an alliance.
我跟柯市长的整个沟通，我相信管道都是非常畅通的。
其实要见面不是不可以，回去考虑看看。
But there are signs a different alliance could be forming instead. Ko Wen-je sent Terry Guo a bouquet on his birthday.
我跟柯主席一直是很熟识的老朋友。
It's unclear if this is an overture or just a friendly gesture. But if the polls are right, Taiwan's divided opposition has little time to work out some kind of alliance if it wants victory in 2024. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Tammy, the running mate of presidential hopeful and electronics tycoon Terry Guo, has officially renounced her U.S. citizenship. Lai posted a photo on social media to prove it. Guo caused a stir last month when he announced Lai, an actor, as his vice presidential pick. But it wasn't just Lai's background in entertainment that raised eyebrows. Her dual US-Taiwan citizenship meant she could not run for office in Taiwan. But now she's free to join Guo on the ticket if he's successful in gathering the 300,000 signatures needed to run. Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the United States says the 2 countries are making good progress on further trade talks. In an exclusive interview, Xiaobi Kim told TaiwanPlus that future negotiations have a broad mandate.
Well, we've signed the first batch of agreed upon issues on the agenda, and we are going to move ahead in negotiating the second round in this initiative and hope that that will go well. I myself, I'm not a trade negotiator, but I do follow the progress, and we look forward to moving ahead in due course. The U.S. side, USTR, has a negotiating mandate covering a wide range of issues, covering many of the issues that are in traditional bilateral trade agreements. And the United States, as you know, they withdrew from CPTPP and TPP, has had a different view on what free trade means, and this initiative that we have with the United States is a new type of trade agreement, and we certainly hope to continue to put substantive aspects in it that will serve to deepen and broaden our trade relationship in many ways.
One promise was that the import of U.S. pork with ractopamine to Taiwan would open the door to an FTA with the United States. But 3 years later, why hasn't that promise been fulfilled yet?
Well, I think the fact that we signed the first trade agreement of the Biden administration says a lot, and we have made a lot of progress. I think what was important in the process of dealing with controversial agricultural products is the expectation that Taiwan meet scientific standards and that we also are part of global standard setting.
Another area of cooperation between the United States and Taiwan has been in chip production, and Taiwan is beginning to set up fabs in Arizona and Ohio. What are the implications of Taiwan moving those factories to these states?
Well, I think it's clear that Taiwanese businesses want to continue to expand their global influence, global market share. And as Taiwanese businesses expand their global presence and global footprint, so does Taiwan's broader economic influence.
But some have argued that this might be concerning for Taiwan in the sense of it might make it vulnerable. Does that shift of establishing chip fabs in the United States make Taiwan more vulnerable?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what we're saying is, we're not moving anything away from Taiwan. Instead, we are basing ourselves in Taiwan and expanding our global influence. So this is, it's a false dichotomy. It's not a trade-off, either Taiwan or somewhere else. These Taiwanese companies that are expanding in the United States continue to invest in Taiwan.
There's this narrative that when speaking about Taiwan, it's always with the context of semiconductors or security issues. But what else does Taiwan have to offer?
Taiwan has many other very competitive, very successful industries, and we do continue to connect with the world. Of course, Taiwan has expertise in many other areas, including global health, including the robust civil society that we have as we contribute to global democracy. We will continue to be a very generous civil society. Whenever there is a need on a global basis, Taiwanese are always ready to stand by to help.
And when you talk about standing by and ready to help, with the 2024 presidential elections coming, we'll be seeing you on the ticket.
Well, this is, again, not a topic that we're going to be addressing in the bilateral Taiwan-U.S. relationship.
Speaking there was Taiwan's representative to the U.S., Xiaobi Kim. A typhoon caused widespread damage when it swept across Taiwan's southeastern Orchid Island. More than a week after the record-breaking winds and waves, the island's people are still suffering. Rick Lowett reports.
60-year-old Sinan Vorjing sleeps exposed to the elements, but she does not want to leave here. It's where she grew up on the north coast of Taiwan's outlying Orchid Island. Her house was blown away by Typhoon Koinu, which brought wind speeds of more than 200 kilometers an hour. And as she rebuilds, she's now counting on her relatives and neighbors.
完全是靠自己。你如果说我们需要怎么样的帮忙，当然最需要帮忙的就是帮我们盖一个家，因为我们现在没有能力盖家里。
Vorjing is one of just 5,000 people living on Orchid Island, 60 kilometers off Taiwan's southeast coast, where tropical beaches and coral reefs usually make it a popular tourist destination. Most of the residents here are Dawo, a seafaring indigenous group that have become accustomed to the remote island's harsh weather. But when Typhoon Koinu ripped through their island, it brought the highest winds ever recorded in Taiwan, sinking boats, destroying homes and businesses, and bringing down power lines. With the help of Taiwan's military, basic necessities like drinking water, electricity, and phone and internet services have now been restored across most of the island. But it's going to take a lot more work to repair the widespread damage to infrastructure and property. That task is made harder by the people here needing to import everything from Taiwan's main island, a 2-hour boat trip away. As winter approaches, the islanders are struggling to find the materials and manpower they need to weatherproof their homes.
很多人在网络上写说有没有水电师傅，有没有修铝门窗的，有没有铁工业者，就是相关的专业的人员可以进来这个岛上。
Taiwan's government has released emergency funds to compensate people affected by the typhoon, and plans to help reconstruct the island's largest harbour and to move electricity cables underground to improve typhoon resilience. But many people here still feel abandoned.
我们希望县政府能够帮我们传递我们的需求给中央，并且除了帮助我们这个岛屿，帮助我们的族人。
Typhoon Koinu has left its mark all over Orchid Island. Its once green rolling hills are now brown. The fierce winds strip the leaves from the trees, leaving hillsides bare. In the villages that dot the coast, the island's residents do what they can with what's at hand. They know that ultimately it will be left up to them to rebuild their island home. Andy Schwer and Rick Lowett on Orchid Island for TaiwanPlus.
Now to another island, thousands of kilometers away. The tiny Pacific nation of Tuvalu is one of Taiwan's few remaining official allies, and as sea levels rise, it's facing a question of survival. I travelled to Tuvalu to report on its attempts to create a backup nation. 28-year-old construction manager Angela Tuvalu is constantly worried about the health of her daughters. They live in Tuvalu, one of the lowest-lying countries on Earth, and the road in front of their home is regularly flooded with dirty water, a result of seawater bubbling up through the porous ground.
Sometimes it goes right up, and then it floods inside the church. Sometimes it reaches in the house, and also the preschool, the kindergarten, yeah.
And there's little she can do to stop it. In the years to come, Tuvalu and her family could lose not just their house and their neighbourhood, but their entire country. Tuvalu, with a population of less than 12,000, is one of the world's smallest nations, just 26 square kilometres across its 9 atolls, and waves are eroding its coast. This concrete base of a World War II anti-aircraft gun used to stand on land. Now it's about 20 metres from shore, showing how sea levels have already risen. Scientists estimate that the whole of Tuvalu could be submerged by the end of the century. And so the government is trying to address that by creating a digital copy of the country, meaning it would be the first nation to exist in the metaverse. Tuvalu has already used land survey data and drone footage to create a virtual copy of its smallest island. And despite difficulties with internet connectivity, it now wants to bring it to digital life.
We're looking at not just recording, digitizing our culture and our history, but presenting it in a way that is attractive and it's appealing to people. And this is where we want to use platforms like the metaverse, for example, to be able to recreate both a virtual copy of the physical territory, but also uploading artifacts, people in that space telling stories and even teaching the language.
Kofe says it's the responsibility of the government to prepare for a worst-case scenario. And by migrating into cyberspace, Tuvalu will still be able to offer its people a shared existence, even if they have to abandon their territory. But the government is also reclaiming land, and some here believe that should be the focus rather than a digital future.
We have to physically do something more concrete to maintain Tuvalu on the map in a way of looking at developments of raising up Tuvalu instead of fully relying on digital wall.
Worried about climate change, many Tuvaluans are already emigrating, which, for mother of 3 Tuvalu, underscores the need for a backup digital nation.
If everyone moves out of this island, if it's gone, at least we have our culture and identities to carry with us. So when we go, we not only just go and live in strange islands or strange countries, but at least we have an area of our own that looks exactly like home, and we practice everything that we have learned here and we take it with us.
It's Tuvalu's National Day, and people are recording what they can of the festivities. A heritage passed down through songs and dance, now being preserved in digital memory. So Tuvaluans can hold on to their shared identity as they strive to exist against the rising seas. Klein Wong and Louise for TaiwanPlus. Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. Finally, we leave you with more images of Tuvalu. I'm Louise Watt. Take care, and we'll see you next time.